All right, friends, it's T-Mon. We're back with another Blaha video. We're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slaves new video he just posted. So Blaha says in this video, is our lifts making us more fit and athletic? Your lifts, how do they make you fit and athletic? Oh, you mean just for lifting weights? Do they make you fit athletic for basketball? For swimming in a pool? See, the movements are different. That's why they have this thing in science. They say hybrid. They say type 2 hybrid muscles. You have hybrid muscles. Why? Because they can adapt to these different movements and specificities that you're doing. That's the whole point. See what I mean? Why would a muscle ever build more muscle? Why would something that you already have muscle build more muscle? Well, it doesn't because it's post-mitotic. Muscles are post-mitotic. They don't split and divide because you're waving your magic wand like Blaha.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I want to chat with you guys and gals a little bit about our training and going beyond just hypertrophy and the physique. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below. Be great.
Look, I have a question for all you people out there that are probably watching this video. Here's a question. If all of you say you reached a newbie gain limit, genetic limit, hard gainer, okay, you said you got these newbie gains. Well, what are these newbie gains that you got? If muscles are post-mitotic and they don't split and divide, muscle cells do not split and divide and increase in number. They themselves do not split, divide, and increase in number. A nuclei cannot split and divide and increase in number. So where did your newbie gains come from? What are they exactly? Where did they come from? How did you build those newbie gains? What type of muscle is it that you grew? Like where did it come from? What is it exactly, a newbie gain? See what I mean? Do you know? Do you even know? Did you ever ponder that? Did you ever think what it was, or what is it? What's it made out of? Where did it? How come you can't get more of it? That's the question. If you got it in the beginning, why can't you keep getting more of it? Why did you reach a newbie gain limit, genetic limit? What is that exactly?
Appreciate it. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you'll be...
You think that muscles are post-mitotic, so they don't split, divide, increase in number, right? So how do steroids overcome that? How do they cause a muscle fiber to split, divide, increase in number? Well, they don't. See what I mean? They can aid in something called protein synthesis. So you say, well, I go to the gym and I lifted weights, and so now I have a window for protein synthesis, but I also have a window for protein breakdown. Okay. Now that you opened the window for protein synthesis, what are you eating? What are you eating now to synthesize protein? What are you eating? Oh, I know. You're going to say you went downstairs to McDonald's. You had a Big Mac and fries and a Coca-Cola. Do you think sugar and fries build muscle, and that bread and those pickles on there and that ketchup? Do you think they build muscle? No. So you have some meat on there, probably made out of soya, whatever. The soya doesn't do anything. So there's like very little meat on that Big Mac hamburger. So the question is this. Now that you have a window for protein synthesis, right? Let's just say, okay, these muscles are post-mitotic. They're not split, divide, increase in number, especially if you're adapted and all you did was open a window for protein synthesis. All right. So if that is true, you have a window for protein synthesis, then in science it says protein synthesis must exceed protein breakdown in order to see that mass on that myofibrillar to grow muscle. See what I mean? But how do muscles grow? If muscles are post-mitotic, they don't split and divide. How do they grow exactly? See the dilemma here? So all the people online are going to say, "Well, Master T's crazy because there's no such thing as hyperplasia when it comes to bodybuilding." Oh, okay. Let's just say there's no such thing as hyperplasia. That muscles, they don't hyperplasia because they're post-mitotic. So then, what's the point of going to the gym and lifting? Why are you lifting weights? Because you say you're building muscle. How do muscles build again? They don't hyperplasia, right? They don't split, divide, increase in number. So what are you hyperplaging? I mean the hyperplaging. What are you hypertrophying when you go to the gym? What are you hypertrophying then? Get it? What exactly are you doing there? Well, the muscle cell itself, the cell, it's not a fat cell. It can't keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But regardless, let's just say you open the window for protein synthesis. So are you synthesizing protein? What are you eating now to synthesize that protein? Get it? You see what I mean? Are you eating enough to synthesize that protein? And then if you come back again and you lift again in the gym, what are you doing? Opening a window for protein synthesis and breakdown? Okay. Are you synthesizing protein again? What are you eating? How much are you eating and what are you eating? Or are you eating your same meals a day? Are you like that little lifting kid, George Lifts, where he eats the same meals every day? He eats very little. It lacks in nutrients. It's just like a lot of slave food he eats. So there's a lacking in nutrients. Muscle cells themselves in your body, they just want nutrients. They don't want sugar, carbs, they don't want slave food or anything. They just want nutrients and a lot of them, high amounts of them. Are you providing that? Are you getting enough? No, never. Nobody really is. See? That's the problem. They're not really bodybuilding correctly or lifting or bodybuilding correctly. Everything they're doing is incorrect because they don't understand. They don't understand bodybuilding. Nobody does. Like they don't know. Not even these influencers. Nobody. Not even Jeff Nippert. Nobody really understands bodybuilding. I'm really surprised. I'm shocked. Not even Mike O'Hearn, who's on steroids. He doesn't understand jack shit about bodybuilding, powerlifting. He just fakes it. He fakes it. A lot of people fake it. Blaha, he's the worst faker because he just can't manage to really fake it to make it. Because look at him. He's so dumb.
Kind enough to drop me a comment down below. I would appreciate it so much. Let's get over to
Like if this is a steroid physique, which I really doubt, but if it is, wow, this must be like the worst steroids in the world. Maybe they're fake. I don't know. He's been buying fake steroids. Time to give back your money, Blaha, because this is the worst fake cosmetic transformation that I have ever seen on YouTube.
Yes, and this is, again, coming from a strength background more than a physique or bodybuilding background. This is stuff.
I love this one. He comes from a strength background and a physique and what? Physique? What are you talking about physique? Bodybuilding is not physiquing. They're not physiquing anything. Are you a fucking idiot? Listen to the word physique and bodybuilding. They don't sound the same, you fuck. What a dumbass. He's fucking stupid. Bodybuilding is strength training.
That I tend to think about. And I do remind people out.
I'm gonna remind all the assholes online one more time. Bodybuilding is superior to powerlifting and calisthenics, okay? Because we do calisthenics, bodybuilding, we do powerlifting, calisthenics, and we do fucking isolation work. And we use very, very different variations in lifting, like eccentric, concentric, concentric, and full range of motion, and isometric and isotonic and a bunch of stuff, okay? It's fucking superior to all your shitty fucking lifting modalities that are out there that exist because we haven't left out anything to chance. So it must be superior. It must be. We build myofibrillar growth. What are power lifters building? Recruiting motor units. So it must be superior to powerlifting. See what I mean? And as far as calisthenics, bodybuilding is superior to calisthenics because we do calisthenics and we do powerlifting, we do isolation and other variations. It's limited. Calisthenics is limited and powerlifting is limited. It has limited itself. There's very low variances involved in there. It's garbage.
There, the average person who is training and they're training for any significant degree of time really does care to.
You can't build a physique bodybuilding. There's no such thing. I'm building a physique. You could take steroids and it's cosmetic, but you don't build a physique bodybuilding. You build muscle myofibrillar growth. That has nothing to do with you could use that. You could equate that, say I'm building a physique. You're building muscle. That's all you're really doing. You're bodybuilding. We're bodybuilding. We're not building physiques. I'll explain this one more time. We are not building a physique. We are body building. We're building our body. I don't know what the fuck physique shit is, whatever. Maybe you're talking about lowering body fat, physique, like I got low body fat and so I look really muscular. So this is a cosmetic look. So if you're trying to lower body fat, because you want to see what's underneath the hood to show off to people. Well, that has nothing to do with bodybuilding. That's you're fuck. That's cosmetic. That's something like what steroid people are doing. Cosmetic look, very very low body fat, right? And then they pump their muscles out through the sarcoplasm. They pump it out taking steroids. So it pumps out. It pumps the muscle out, and they get low body fat. So it shows up a lot more. It's more prominent now. Fake natural bodybuilders, they can, that's a type of aesthetic, you could call it part of aesthetic look. So pumping the sarcoplasm and losing body fat at the same time and pumping it out, that's considered the same thing. That's fake, but that isn't bodybuilding. You get it? That isn't bodybuilding.
Some extent about being fit, not just being jacked. And this is something I think a lot of guys start to realize later. People who started as athletes, they get it, right? People who played sports when younger, they absolutely care about this.
I get it because I was there and I did it. I was there and I done it. I built myofibrillar growth. I body built the way it was meant to be, the way it was meant to be done. Not like all these asshole people online. Crazy people.
But what we have is we do have a generation of guys who, they didn't do that, and then they get into their 20s and they start lifting or start training in their 20s. And I always remind them they're way behind the curve at that point.
Not really. I started doing real heavy, like really building my body in my late 20s up to around 30. So I don't know what Blaha's talking about. That's when I had the money to eat, the time, the money, and a bunch of stuff to actually do it. Yeah, when I was younger, I didn't have the time and the money and stuff to do it. I was busy working. I had things to do, man. I had a lot of shit to do.
And, a lot of them will get obsessed with, well, I don't care about any of that. I just want a good physique. And I'm not...
Yeah, what is this obsession, this good physique? What's the matter with your physique? Are you upset that you eat slave food diet and you got a fat, chubby looking ugly body or something like Blaha eating slave food?
Even
well, lifting is not gonna cure that. Stop eating the slave food diet.
Machines and other stuff don't carry over. I'm not saying that strength and muscle doesn't carry over to athleticism because, again, force production is there. I am one of the first people to say that obviously athletes need to be gaining muscle, they need to be gaining strength. But I think what a lot of these guys are forgetting is their ability to function.
But they're not gaining muscle because muscle's post-mitotic. They don't know how. They don't know what's building muscle. You understand me? They think bulk diets build muscles. Well, it's impossible since muscles are post-mitotic.
Real world, their ability to function in anything outside the weight room. Their conditioning, their athleticism, their ability to produce force, in a wide variety of situations is not going to be the same if they're not considering these things. And I think what a lot of guys are forgetting, they get caught up in this, well, if we only care about hypertrophy, which is this weird selling point, you'll see the bodybuilding type influence.
Well, if we only care about hypertrophy, well, you lifting heavier, could that be considered like hypertrophy? Like you're overloading now, you're lifting heavier and heavier. Well, it's something is hypertrophying, it's getting bigger. Hypertrophy just means something is getting bigger. Whatever that bigger is, they never really classify it as, does it have to be myofibrillar to get bigger? No, not necessarily. It could be sarcoplasmic. It could be, what do you call it? Inflammation. It could be, I don't know, some metabolic stress thing you're causing, whatever. A bunch of stuff, okay?
Promote, especially you notice a lot of the evidence-based ones, right? People who come from more athletic backgrounds and are not as much evidence-based, you'll see more of them are like, yeah, I don't care about that. I want to be able to run and jump, like they laugh at the idea. They'll laugh at
They can already run and jump. What are you talking about?
The idea. And I guess
Everybody that's young, a young person, can run and jump because their DNA hasn't been completely fucked up eating slave food diets. They haven't taken on so much damage where the body can't repair it fast enough. If you take on more damage faster than your body can repair, again, that's part of the accelerated aging process, you deteriorating faster than you're aging. You look in the mirror and you see the mummy, and you're like, I don't like what I see. So you start doing these weird surgeries, taking these pills. All of you people are going to be there one day, believe me. All of you people are going to get there one day. You're going to look at yourself and you're going to go, how the fuck did I get here? And you did it all on your own. It was your own fault because you see, here's the thing. Now that, like I said in my videos, now that you know the truth that you should be eating a raw and carnivore animal diet so you don't turn into the mummy. But if you continue in your behavior, it is your own fault now. Get it? It is your own fault. See what I mean? You have a chance to reverse all that and get better. But if you continue in that behavior, whose fault is it? Mine or yours? Your fault. It's not mine. I cannot eat for you, okay? I cannot lift for you, regenerate your muscles, build muscle. I can't do any of these things for you. You people have to do it yourself. Get it? You're not a child anymore. You're an adult, okay? Nobody's there. Dad, mom's not there to hold your hand anymore. So you understand me? It's incumbent upon you to do these things. You figure it out. But like I said, don't blame anybody, but blame yourself. Only you have to blame. Once you know the truth, if you keep cooking your meat, whatever it is you're doing there, frying it, grilling it, cooking it, whatever, it's your own fault, okay? Well, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be eating it raw. But hey, I digress. Each to their own. Do what is best for you. If you think that poisoning yourself is good for you, well, then continue in that behavior. Me personally, I don't enjoy poisoning myself because, number one, health is all you have in this world. Money is meaningless. Money, all these things. You can get money, but if you're sick, you can't make money if you're sick and crippled. See what I mean? So health is number one in this world, and with money and food, you can create better health. But you can't create better health if you don't have food or money. See what I mean? But food and money will create better health. And because you have food and money, you're creating better health, that will aid you in creating more money and more better food and better health all the time. You'll always keep getting better. But if you don't use your money properly to buy the best food and feed your body the best food so you can create more health and then create more money at the same time, then you're a lost cause, man. Nobody else is to blame but yourself. Like Blaha.
difference here is the difference between, nerds and jocks to some extent. But I think people need to understand it's not a compromise. Because a lot of stuff you guys see me do, I don't think I threw any in this little set of training clips. But you guys see me these days doing sled work. You see me doing jumping, right? And I've always done this stuff off and on, even on my channel, because coming from a strength background, right? Even now taking up running.
He comes from a strength background. So why does he take steroids if he comes from a strength background? Doesn't. He's just making up stuff. Doesn't even know what he's talking about.
But I mean, again, are we going to pretend that these things don't build muscle? So that's the fact.
Those things don't build muscle. Want to know why? Because muscle's post-mitotic. It does not split and divide, increase in number because they're post-mitotic. So none of those things build muscle. The question is this: what builds muscle?
Fascinating thing to me is, how many people out there are not realizing, look how many athletes are jacked. Like, is anyone looking at a bunch of football players? Even the leaner high school.
What about a bunch of football players? They usually pick the tallest people, tall and carrying a lot of weight on their body. But weight isn't muscle because you're carrying a lot of weight. Putting on weight. That isn't muscle, man. You know what I mean? This is just dumb.
Football players oftentimes are in the weight room.
Now, I'm not saying that if you pack on a lot of weight on your body and it's weighing itself down, will that force your body to increase myonuclei, yada, yada, and some of this muscle size? Yes, it could do that because it has to support this weight, right? Otherwise, you'd be completely exhausted and you just wouldn't want to get up anymore. You just sit down sedentary and not move. It's kind of obvious. Proportionately, weight to muscle it has to proportionally weigh itself out, like increase itself, so that you wouldn't be exhausted. You die, man. You know what I mean? You'd be exhausted and die. So yeah, a lot of people have that propensity. They put on a lot of weight, their muscles kind of expand, but when they lose the weight, that phony weight, the muscle itself, the nuclei, will go away. And so they will not synthesize any more protein to maintain some of this mass, to maintain this strength so you can walk around. The question is this: if you put on a lot of weight, you get really, really, really fat. So what's going to aid you? What's going to give you strength to carry all that fat around? Do you think your muscles are going to recruit just motor units to carry around that weight, a motor unit? No, it doesn't. It doesn't increase motor units. It increases muscle mass. So muscle must make you stronger, because to accommodate, to carry all that, like, I don't know, to 300 pounds of fat on your body, that's crazy. See what I mean? So the muscle has to increase in size because of that stress that's being placed on it in gravity and all that fat you're carrying. But that is really a cheap way of trying to build muscle, because it's not, you won't maintain it. It'll go away. It's fake. That's why. It wasn't maintained through muscle damage.
And all this stuff, a lot of them, they are pretty jacked relative, to people who are training. But I mean, are people looking at the bodies of athletes and saying, oh man, they aren't jacked? No, it's
Look, it's unnatural for humans to be fat, so it's fake.
the opposite. So we need to be aware your GPP builds muscle, okay?
Your GPP does not build myofibrillar growth because muscles are post-mitotic. They don't split and divide.
Your GPP builds muscle.
No, it doesn't.
Arc'teryx hiking.
Your GPP builds muscle.
That's absolutely a lie. GPP doesn't build muscle. Maybe it can aid in, pumping up your muscles like sarcoplasm.
Right? Everyone gets that, right? They do know that jumping builds muscle, right? It's been pretty well confirmed.
Jumping builds muscle. Well, the pounding on a muscle can cause it to micro tear. You jumping.
You do know that pushing it.
But it doesn't cause it to build a muscle. It causes a window for protein synthesis. So now you need to synthesize protein. Protein synthesis needs to outpace protein breakdown.
Or pulling a sled or a prowler absolutely builds muscle.
No, they don't build muscles because muscles are post-mitotic. So the sled and sleigh are not building muscles because you're pushing them. See what I mean? Shit.
Like we see it in the real world with athletes who get really jacked doing mostly sled work. There's been
They didn't get jacked because they were doing the sled. They appeared to be jacked because they're eating slave food diets, carbohydrates, and possibly taking drugs as well, steroids, whatever else they're doing there, faking it.
plenty of them. We see plenty of athletes who only do a small amount of squatting, enough to get really strong, and then they're out here doing sleds and jumping and stuff who have jacked legs, jacked strong legs. And those things carry over, and I think people forget that too. Westside told you this.
West Side is fake. This whole jack legs, brother. Blah cannot stop fabricating fake stuff.
Chad Wesley Smith told you this, even who's not Westside. You're seeing a lot of these coaches with really massive squats who are like jumping, sleds, stuff like that. It's kind of important for an elite squat. And they all have big legs. So people need
Deep squats, big legs, yeah. Big legs, yeah.
to understand this.
They do.
Being athletic is going to help you be jacked. It's still hypertrophy, right? It's still going to put muscle on you. Box jump, sled work is going to make you bigger. Rowing is still going to make you bigger. You're still going to have a hypertrophic component to it, particularly when added into your program, okay? So the same thing with the exercises we pick. The movements that move your body through space. Like you guys will see me here. Obviously, I am doing some benching and other stuff, but you guys will see me back squat. You see me do a lot of weighted dips, a lot of weighted pull-ups.
So what? They're lazy. You're adapted. They're lazy. Muscles are post-mitotic. You have to do something specific to get them to trigger the catalyst to trigger muscles so they could grow. But again, without this protein, man, they're not going to grow.
All right. and it's just stuff I want people to think about with this. Do you really and truly think that a machine or whatever is going to be superior to this, or trying to isolate stuff in terms of even muscle? I mean, really and truly, do you guys not think pull-ups and dips are going to build a ton of muscle in the upper body?
Nope. They're not going to build a ton of muscle in the body if you're adapted, because muscles are post-mitotic. They do not split and divide. Get it?
Like if you did both of those exercises, you do realize your upper body, the entire upper body will grow. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect.
The question is this. He says you do know they will grow, but they're not growing. So why aren't they growing?
Proportion for bodybuilding purposes. But you do realize, hopefully people grow.
Look around the gym. A lot of people are doing these. Are they growing every time they come in? Is it growing? They'd be massive by now, right? Couple of sessions.
That's that. Pull-ups and dips combined together, especially to get real strong out of progressive overload.
They reached the genetic limit, newbie gain limit, remember? Okay, how do you get over that? I know. Steroids, right? Is that it? That must be the answer. Yeah, sure.
There is not one muscle in the upper body that is not going to grow from that. People say, what about side delts? Side delts are still going to grow.
Yeah, there's not one muscle that will grow from it. No, there's not one muscle that will grow from it. It will not grow because muscles are post-mitotic. Yeah.
Your only argument might be that you might not get 100% of the possible growth. But if you say they're not going to grow, you're flat wrong.
No, I'm absolutely right. They will not grow if there's not a level of micro tears done to that muscle. If it's just a blunting thing, if you're not getting DOMs for 4 days, at least a maximum of 4 days, they're not growing. I can tell you that. And they won't grow if protein synthesis does not outpace protein breakdown, blaha.
Reality check.
Reality check right there. That's the reality check.
Reality check. Same thing with back squatting. You realize you.
Okay, prove that I'm wrong. That muscles are post-mitotic. They don't have split and divide just because you're just rowing your there up and down. They're going to grow from doing that. Prove it to me that they grow from just rowing a weight up and down like an asshole like you are, doing all these stupid exercises. If that was true, if that was true, every time you bench or row your arm and muscles would grow, guess what happened? You would commit suicide and fucking die. That's why muscles are post-mitotic, you asshole.
Throw those three together. A person can get pretty dang jacked off of those three exercises, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
Again, hopefully people understand this.
Look, man, hopefully the dumb people out there will understand this. If muscles could split and divide every time you just lifted a weight, then that would mean that every time you moved a box in the factory, it would be inevitable that muscles would split, divide, and grow every time you moved something, right? Because that's what Blaha says. He says, you're going to grow muscle every time you do these exercises. Well, he's not growing. But there's a reason why your muscles don't grow. Every time you move a weight, because muscles are post-mitotic. They're adult fibers. They don't split and divide. And there's a big reason for that, because every time you moved a weight and your muscles would split and divide and increase in size, you would want to commit suicide and die because you would never be able to work. Now, if you had to go out in nature, and you were to go hunt, every time you hunted and you did these, throwing actions and movements, and your muscles would split and divide every time you hunted or swam in a lake or fucking moved some shit around or boulders, man, you just would keep growing and growing. They require a lot of energy, right? You have to eat more and more to maintain it, whatever, or some bullshit or whatever. But regardless, whatever, they would just keep increasing like that. Let's just say, brother, you would commit suicide. You'd fucking hang yourself and die because there would be no end to it. Nobody could ever work in any job. They would not be comfortable working in any physical job, building houses or fucking whatever they're doing there, because you die. Get it? You want to kill yourself too. This is just retarded.
And the same thing when it comes to even your big heavy lifts. You know, there's a neural drive. That neural drive will carry over to your hypertrophy work. You can be more efficient.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but I
that's the
think when
reason.
people,
That's the reason your body, the human body, gives you this artificial strength, neural drive, because in other words, you have permanent muscle already that you're born with up to the age of 15. After 15, that's it. It's over. And so you're getting is neural drive. You're building you're recruiting neural drive and some androgen receptors for maximal force production, maximizing that force production. So when you take steroids, they bind with the receptor, increasing that force production. That's all it does, really. But that's not based on you getting more myofibrillar growth. That's based on you recruiting more of these receptors and these motor units for force production. See what I mean? So it gives you a type of artificial strength, but not based on myofibrillar growth, because muscles are post-mitotic. Now, is there a way to build muscle? What would cause a muscle to build, like build up? You know what I mean? But not like what you think. Like it's just gonna split and divide, increase in number. A micro tear. Only a micro tear can increase, but it only increases the myofibrillars. See what I mean? It won't. It itself, depending on you could build an entirely new muscle fiber. It can. It can do that. But an entirely new muscle fiber is very specific. If it was to build it, it would have to have been through some astronomically high amount of stress to build a muscle fiber. That is just insane. But yeah, it's not uncommon. It can happen. See what I mean? It can happen. It can happen. But it's not common that it would keep building that. You understand me? Because muscles are post-mitotic. Get it? So they go through micro tears, but it's only in the contractile proteins. It's the contractile proteins that go through these micro tears. And these micro tears, now that you get them, if you do get them or if you've gotten them, now there's a window for protein synthesis. You need to synthesize protein by eating what? A lot of protein. Protein needs to exceed that breakdown to see that mass build or grow, repair and remodel. You understand me? And you get muscle. That's how you build it. But it's only built through that. That's a type of hyperplasia. That hyperplasia is an increase in the satellite cells itself. Get it? Yeah, they split and divide. See, the satellite cells, they got to come out. They can split and divide, increase in number. But the muscle cells, they're post-mitotic. They cannot split and divide, increase in number. Get it, dude?
need to understand they're so caught up in this idea that they're not going to have a physique unless they focus all on just bodybuilding type training.
Yeah,
And it's just not reality. Tons of
that is true. To build, well, he says physique. To build muscle, you need to focus on all bodybuilding. Yeah, to get that. Why? Because nothing is left out to chance. Get it? Powerlifting is not a modality for building muscles, because muscles are post-mitotic. I'm not saying you can't get a micro tear lifting, doing enough sets of reps, maybe in powerlifting. If you did enough of it, it's a possibility you could get a micro tear. But you're building myofibrillars, yeah. You could get a micro tear, you could build it, but only providing that you don't keep coming back. You let it go through a remodeling, which most powerlifters don't. They're too anxious, and they're not really synthesizing protein because they're not really eating. That's why you hear a lot of powerlifters, they're dumb. They're like, I got it stronger, but I didn't get it bigger. Well, why would you get bigger? Muscles are post-mitotic. Lifting a heavy weight doesn't build muscles. But I know, you're going to say, but there was this guy called Milo, and he had this bull on his back. Blaha said he carried a bull, and he got big and strong. No, he didn't. He did it. He recruited motor units. He recruited motor units and androgen receptors, and he increased force production by carrying that bull on his back. The cell itself is post-mitotic. It doesn't split, divide, increase in number, unless, of course, placed under astronomically high stress. But you'd probably would get an influx of nuclei to synthesize protein, but you're not synthesizing anything because your protein is not outpacing protein breakdown. Get it, broski?
Athletes have great physiques, and I get it if you're trying to be a professional bodybuilder. But I'm sorry, but guys who just want to look really good at the beach, like, you could train purely for athletic purposes and throw in your hypertrophy work, and it could be movements that improve athleticism. Because again, the big barbell movements and then the movements that move your body through space, those are going to have a way larger carryover to your general fitness, athleticism, all these things, right? You're going to be more fit doing those than you are locked into a machine or isolating everything. You really are. Okay? I'm not saying you can't do any of the other stuff. But the same thing, all your other sports type training is still going to improve body composition while making you dramatically fitter and more functional. And when I say functional, I don't mean like the functional training hopping around on a BOSU ball. I'm talking about pushing and pulling the sled, doing a back squat, doing a weighted pull up, jumping, right? That's functional. That is what we mean by functional. The ability to carry over to sports, to carry over to any form of real world activity. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative.
Thank God, man. Yeah, whatever, man. I think, like I said, people just don't know anything about bodybuilding out there, man. They really need to educate themselves. I'll see you in the next video. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. See you in the next one. Same bad channel, same bad time.